welcome to A Good Walk Spoiled, Adventures in Golf, hosted by Scott Ponywaz, also known as @PonyGolf. Hello and welcome to another episode of A Good Walk Spoiled. I'm pretty excited today to welcome Jonathan Bogush to our show today. He and I sort of crossed paths a couple of years ago at the Atlantic City Phish shows, and most particularly the Runaway Golf event that he hosted at Seaview. So it was a first for me to sort of combine the whole golf and Phish passion. So I'm pretty excited to have Jonathan on today and talk a little bit of golf, a little bit of Phish, and hopefully you enjoy the conversation. So Jonathan, welcome, and thanks for coming on today.
Thank
And
you. Those
we're
are
excited
some of
to-
my two favorite things is Phish and golf. So when you asked to talk about it, I said, how much time do we have? So now I'm really happy to be here. So what would you like
We'll
to start
try to keep it to,
Yeah, I don't want
20
to
minutes or
lose
so here, but if we run away a little bit, no worries on that front.
Yeah.
So I guess, first things first, like, how did the idea come about? Because I know Atlantic City was one, and you've done some others as well.
I shared before, fishing, going golfing during Phish runs with my friends became something that we did to kind of try to maintain some normalcy show to show, so that we had something to go to bed for, get up for. We would make tea. So that's where I kind of started, incorporating to bringing my clubs with me in the trunk on the way to shows. It's not the most normal thing to throw in your trunk, but then it became a reality to actually, or it came an idea to put together a group. Two things happened. So I started looking at sobriety, and I started to say, hey, I'm going to stop drinking a little bit and start using some methods out there to get sober, live sober. And I had done that through COVID. So that's kind of started right before COVID. And it just lined up well with COVID. And I survived COVID like a lot of us did. A lot of sober people did, through digital meetings and playing golf. And so that, honestly, for me, I was all about finding a new community. Didn't want to lose Phish. Love Phish. Seen them over 300 times. They are the cornerstone of some of my biggest experiences of my life. But when they took that little break during COVID, I was like, well, and golf became such a big thing for me. I was like, I wonder if I threw this out there, if I would get a response. And like I mentioned earlier, it just started with me on a Facebook group. You enjoy my golf. Hope I can mention it, but you say, hey, I'm thinking about getting together, no stakes, no frill golf outing, straight up outing, not even a water wheel sponsor, just to play, on the Saturday between shows. And the response was overwhelming, probably for two reasons. The first AC was canceled, right? So they They had it booked, and people, and then it was, sorry, we can't. So I think that 2021 AC was pretty awesome, because people were like, I'm going. And this just ended up being hey, I'm going for another luxury thing to throw on. So people were like, sure, I'll pay the $2.25. And it's expensive, right? It was a big round, nice course. And I met some buddies, met some people that referred to me, hey, this guy had the same idea. In typical Phish group fashion, we trolled each other for a bit, then we became friends, and then we started working together on putting together this project. And it's funny, I reached out to Seaview, Atlantic City Country Club. There's another crazy one called Twisted Dunes, really good courses out there. And the girl that handles outings at Seaview is family, so she's fam. So she was
wow.
Oh, you're going? Hey, that's so cool. I'm so bummed it was canceled. We got a house in Brigantine. I was like, that's awesome. So we obviously chose, when we spoke to people, we chose the one that was fam, welcome, come on in. And that's how it started. And then she honestly didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't even have an organization to roll this up under. So it's not like I was going to show up and swipe a card for $25,000. And, I literally said, you have to help me. It's like a 150 head showed up that want to pay. So it was really bare bones. We threw it together, but it ended up being a great time. And I met 20, 30 people now that when I see at shows, they tackle me and give me hugs. So it's always nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize that they're in family as well. That
Yeah, she I think she was kind of like a little hush hush, like, don't tell anyone, but I'm going. And I took off my PTO. I was like, don't worry, sis, I got you. Well, I said, don't worry, we're not bringing like tanks and like speakers with us. We know there happens to be good golfers that know the game that really want to play here. We'll be on our best behavior. She was like, oh, go nuts. And I think the best part about it is I was on a sobriety journey. Still am, still doing well. But like people that showed up raged. It was a really nice fun. There was like 6 groups sober, a couple groups. It kind of worked. It kind of showed me how many people that love Phish love golf, and that's great. And everyone showed up looking good. I heard some people shot some low numbers. I know I shot a 81, which was a decent round out there for me, so I was pretty pumped.
Yeah, well, and especially Donald Ross Design and host of the LPGA event. It was like so many great things all came together with that course.
It's funny. I grew up in New Jersey, so I don't know. People probably don't think Jersey and golf. They think Jersey and like the Elizabeth with the Cogen factory. Jersey's got some of the best golf courses in the country. It's one of the earliest states in in America. Because of that, the county golf system started here. Like, how do we bring the game to people? And because of that, some of the best designers like Ross, Tillinghurst, a bunch built courses here. And so I grew up here. And I played on a really good high school team, and I played in college in Pittsburgh. But still, me and Northeast Golf, I've grown so accustomed to playing Rosses and playing big names that I kind of forgot the wow factor of Seaview. And when I was there, people were like, this is incredible. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I forgot. It's a really good track, too. Like, it came together so naturally. I forgot we're playing on one of the best tracks in New Jersey, super private club. They made it seem so open. I didn't even really think about it. So that's always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, if you grew up in Jersey, Pine Valley, have you?
No, for God's sakes. So the story is my dad, who is a retired private equity guy, scary dude, nice guy though, but still had that like scary business edge. He had an invite, and the morning of, it rained torrentially, and they waited for 6 hours in the parking lot, and they were told, sorry, fellas, course is shut down. It broke his heart. And that was like in 1981. I saw Ricky make I have done an aerial. Like every nerd, I've done the aerial overview of the course. That's as close as I'll probably ever get to it, unless I meet a president or something.
Still got time. You
never know. I'm a recruiter. I might bump into the right guy. I've been invited to some pretty cool courses with my job, so that's all. I don't know. Pine Valley's up there.
Nice. So I have to ask, what was the first Phish show?
So I'm about to be 44, and I was taking my first Phish show as a 13-year-old kid by my sister, who was 17, and her boyfriend, who was about 20. It's a little risque, but she dated him. She was a very kind of older soul named Elizabeth. So it was 5/3/93 in New Brunswick at the State Theater, Buried Alive opener. And I remember looking at Liz, and I was like, "This is like Pee Wee Herman." She's like, "Yeah, it's like a joke. Have fun." I was like, "Yeah." I remember my first time as I'm like just starting puberty. I'm not too like bold. I remember going like, "Yeah," like really. And people are like, "Who is this kid?" So I kind of got in on like, he's my brother, but he could be my son. Don't worry about it. Get him in. So that was my first show, and then my next show wasn't until 95 New Year's. So I went from a small show in Brunswick to like, Dad got Liz and her boyfriend Delta Skybox tickets, and John gets to go because that one thing in 93 he loves so much. And I went into 95 New Year's at one of the best shows they've ever, the biggest moments in their life professionally. They happened to knock it out of the park, and I happened to be dead center in the Delta Skybox back in the day watching. So that was my second show. And then I didn't start touring. I didn't start going with friends to multiple show stretches till 96 summer, leading up to Clifford Ball. I had friends in high school a couple years older, and I was able to link that up where I was able to run and do about 11, 12 shows as a 16-year-old in 96. And then by the time I was 97 came around, I was in. I was like, I went home 96 summer and was like, this is the truth. Everyone needs to go. And I recruited so many people to come with me on what became my 1.0 runs. I didn't miss much 97, 8, 9, or 2000. I went to Europe. I went to Japan. I had some really good stretches of luck, which allowed me to follow them through college. And By the way, college took 5 years for me because of Phish. So I don't blame them. You know what I mean? I had a hand in not handing in some of that assignments and getting some withdrawals, but because of tour. But people say, "Wow, that's so cool." I was like, well, it cost me an extra like 80 grand a college because I forfeited some classes here and there on running at shows. So overall, I did the count the other day after Sphere because I was FOMOing and I wanted to just do a recount between ticket stubs and .net. And it looks like I've hit 354. So that's my tally for whatever that's worth.
That's
I look
awesome.
good for 354. Clean cut. No tattoos either. It's a miracle. I don't know how I'm not up to here.
Well, I mean, growing up on the East Coast, I mean, you're definitely in the heart of Phish
Yeah.
tours and all that kind of
It was
stuff.
like summer tour for me. It was like summer camp for me and my friends. I grew up in a relatively upper middle class home, but I went to a very affluent private school, and those kids I met, they had already baked into their life like we're going to go to some shows. Their parents were pretty like liberal New Yorkie types, and they were like, yeah, sure. These kids had cars, so I got linked up with a group of kids when I was 16. They were like, we've convinced we're going to go sell, we're going to go make it through. We're going to go vend, quote unquote, make it through. Or are you coming? I was like, sure. And so I kind of got lucky. Some say I would get introduced. I got into some shenanigans early in life, but honestly, it was worth it. And I happened to see, I'll never trade like some of the 99 shows that I saw. And obviously 97, 99 was such like a formative time for me. It was hard not to turn around and be like, I'm not seeing the best band in the world right now. Like, so, show me another one that's doing this and I'll go pay money to go chase them,
Yeah.
So.
So did you get to go to Sphere or no?
No, we chose to go back into tour. First of all, I could have gone, I don't know what happened. Like many people, I was about to pull the trigger on Sphere. I was in the queue. I got in, I picked tickets 4 days and it said we lost the tickets. And I tried it again and again and again. Each time the price kept going up. The last one I failed on, it would have cost us almost like $2,300 to go to like 2 shows, something crazy. And thank God it didn't go through. That's a lot of even, it's a lot of money for like 99% of people. Still a lot of money for me. And it looked like it was worth every dollar, but it looks like also they're going to kind of go in and out of there. So I kind of felt like a little less. And then we invested a lot of money that we are going to spend on Sphere on shows this summer. So we're going to Mansfield. We got into Mohegan. I love that room. Mohegan is such a fun room. 2019 was great. And today, I think there's nothing like a little respite in the summer, a nice cool room with them to get yelled at for a couple of hours. And you were hitting Bethel and then obviously Montegreen, but you're going to let the Midwesterners have fun by themselves this year. Let them do their thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just seeing all the clips and stuff on Instagram and everything that people are sharing.
Yeah, that taste would have brought me to my knee. I'm like, we're all Pollock fans and I'm a huge, when they play Taste, they're feeling all right. They've done their homework. They're ready to go, tackle that thing. And it was done so well with just the Fish Chapel look. It just blew my. I have a couple friends that their business is reporting on music, Live for Live Music. They write for, websites, the reviews that we read, and they were there and they said it was as special as it looked, and that people were really pretty well behaved and took it in pretty well. I think looking at it, I think I have to be on that floor. I don't think maybe one show in the 100s or maybe one way up in the 3s, but I think I'd want to be, for some reason, despite everything, it felt like the people were too far away, and I like my Phish close, and I like to feel the floor under my feet, and I felt like I would be the guy in the 400s, like, yeah, like no one can, John, they can't hear you. It's like, you're half mile away, man, just chill,
Well, and it's sort of like the IMAX. You kind of look up and you're just,
yeah, I guess that's the whole idea, is to reach yourself.
Just...
But I honestly am one of those guys that thinks I'm like, orchestrating Phish as they play. Don't ask, like they're in my head. And I'm like, when I hear them make a good transition, I'm like, good job. you did well. So if I'm far away, can they hear it? Will they know I'm orchestrating? So don't ask. I've been to too many Phish shows. I feel like there's a connection between what I bring and what happens. So it's a little kooky, but it's been working. I've caught some heaters. So
do you also run the runaway gym that is at Dick's every year?
No. So that's happy. When we actually ended up having our tournament, it ended up being labeled the Phish Golf Association. On the placards for the tournament, it didn't say Runaway Golf. So that's how it was marketed. And my friend who's very well connected with people that design, do logos, worked with a guy that just put together the thing. And I just wanted an official looking Facebook post with that a cool little design. So there's no connection, and honestly I believe we may have inspired that one, but I don't judge me. If not, we copied it. So if they were before us, I apologize. We were moving fast, just trying to get people together, but I think it came up afterwards.
So do you have any other events planned for?
No, actually, so we're going to keep it not for this summer, because of because this is such an intense, the summers are 3 days and everyone's saving money. They're asking for a lot of money from people. I think to throw in a higher end golf experience, we wouldn't get as much. Case in point, second year we tried to run the Atlantic City tournament. I actually brought on a company to handle payments and and the turnout was was a third than what we had. And I think appetite for that type of spending went down a little bit. I think people were like, I already did it once. It's at Seaview. So honestly, we kind of let it rest. I would love to be involved with another Northeast tournament, and I would work in any capacity to help whoever planned one. I know the Colorado one's been running for years, so they have players too. Their trophies and the plaque. I mean, they look like it's a legit tournament with good players. So that's great to see.
So it sounds like as you've started to add golf into the different Phish tour stops, what are some memorable courses that you've thrown into the mix?
So we got to play. So anytime you're in California, you know what I mean? It's been great. So I've been able to, because of connections in the Phish world, get onto like Bel-Air Country Club for a round before a Hollywood Bowl show, which is pretty ridiculous. It's a really nice track, lots of history. We haven't done something, they haven't really gone up Pacific Northwest, like Banyan Dunes is far from everything, so nothing truly epic. But I think Bel-Air, the invite to Bel-Air before some of the Hollywood Bowl shows has to be one of the best kind of Phish golf connections. Down when I went to Charleston back, they played a bunch in Charleston, 4 or 5 times since they've come back. Every time there's been options of who I'm going to go play golf. Like there's 16 guys over there, 24. So with Charleston's, we played Dunes West, played Wild Dunes, we played Charleston Country Club. Oh God, there was a course out in Johns Island we got invited to. Hilton Head was great. So I mean, we did a lot. It hasn't been like, we haven't gone to like an urban Phish environment and played golf. It's been like a golfy environment with Phish, and we've been able to connect it. But yeah, no, Bel-Air stands out. Bel-Air was and I caught the show with the 2 guys afterwards, and they were just, for guys that belong to Bel-Air, they're pretty down to earth and connected. It was a really great night. I was like, I wasn't expecting it. Would I be like, would they just be scratching the surface of knowledge? And they were like right there with me and super nice. So I was like, wow, this is great to see, So it gave me a little look up to. I would love to be a Bel-Air. I'd love to be a member at somewhere with that type of level, and I play really hard and work at it and still can go and like have a good time at a Phish show and just be like, magnanimous to everybody, So
yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because when we were younger and like some of the Grateful Dead fans, as they were all getting older, and it was like, wow, there's some like successful people within the Grateful Dead world. And now it's sort of
I got to go see Jerry. My parents are not Deadheads, but they are people of the late 60s and 70s. They appreciate great rock, and they would go see any good show that came through. And my dad was in college during those, Pigpen, Brett Midland days, right, with 70, 71, which was just epic. And he caught some shows. And he kind of started to see the Dead a little bit. So by the time I was a little kid, we were going to Dead shows with my mom and dad, her sister and brother, with all the kids sitting way up. So I got to go to some Dead with Jerry. I didn't remember any of it. I was a little kid. I remember through pictures, but I do remember being like scared, like, whoa, there's some hard looking people. There's some people obviously that are living tough, like badass lives. You could just physically tell, like, damn, these are like rough people. And I remember my mom, parents were like, yeah, don't worry about it. There's people here that are kind of, this is what they do. And I'm like, so now that I'm 30 years with Phish, going to see Phish shows, I smile at the fact that some of those borders have been broken down a little bit. I feel like there's not a, I don't know. I feel like I know a lot of people that do well in life in non-traditional ways that still go to see shows. They own a business. They work for a huge corporation. They don't learn. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's less class in Phish these days, less socioeconomic divide visibly when you go to a Phish show today. So it's also getting a lot younger, I feel, too, which is great. I'm noticing a lot more girls, a lot more younger people. I don't care about the girls. It's good to see that we have that, because it used to just be dudes like me and you with golf with Titleist hats on, so, round
and it's kind of funny that, you see Phish shirts, and actually now you see Grateful Dead shirts around too on like teenage kids.
Yeah,
and,
apparently
the brand is just everywhere.
Like you pay like $400 for a Dead t-shirt if it's been touched up by another company. I've seen that in the city. We see drops of clothes for, like what is Denim Tears, so it's like a Dead tie-dyed from the 70s. It's like selling for like $1,000 because it's got like a patch on it. Like, all right, man, right on. Yeah, they couldn't tell you anything about like any of, they couldn't tell you about the other ones or anything like that, but they like the shirt. So
all right, so I guess as we kind of wrap up today, any big golf adventures for this summer you're looking forward to?
So I'm very lucky. My wife started playing about 3 years ago, and she's a stick. She can play. She hits the ball, buck 80, 200 off the tee. She hits great irons. She's, doesn't get up and down that much. She's a little still getting her hands, but she's not really putting down a score, but she can keep up with any of us. So yeah, our life is now a golf adventure. So we go to Palm Springs, we go to LA, we're going to Miami for my birthday, playing Doral and playing that Trump course. Hate to say his name, but playing the Blue Monster that he bought, So I asked her, I was like, do you mind? She's like, no, I don't care. It's like, it's not like he's there. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, no, life is now, when you have a wife that plays, that wants to hit balls in practice, your life's a golf adventure. So that's all of our vacations are. So and we'll take our clubs with us to Dover for sure. I don't know if we'll sneak out. I don't know what the deal is. We're doing full mond camping. So we're like behind the stage. We're like in that on site. So I don't know what the stance is on in and out, but I bet you we take our clubs to Mansfield, and we get in a couple rounds up there by Connecticut. There's a couple good courses up that way. So we always play. It keeps us sane for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And awesome that, as a couple, you guys can play together.
Yeah, no, it's really, it's when I was a little more selfish, I'd be like, this is the time I need away from. Honestly, it's not. It's the time where I get better at golf now, helping her go through her check marks, go through her pre-shot routine, identify, you know what I mean? And I've been striking the ball really well. I'm scoring still. I'm still a 5 handicap. I can't get any. I haven't gotten any lower in years, but I'm hitting the ball better than ever. And I'm practicing hitting like 400 balls a week with her. So that's great. It's just, it's a blessing. That plus Phish, I never thought when I was at my low points, acting like an idiot, like on tour, like barely enough money to get home and not looking good. I never thought I'd be in this life. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing they're still playing for us too. They're phenomenal men. So I hope they keep going.
Yeah. Well, and they're sort of in their prime right now.
Sounds like I don't want to. Don't. We're full, man. Don't tell anyone, bro. They got enough. They're killing it, dude. Don't like. We gotta cut the. We gotta trim the vine every once in a while, dog. God.
Yeah.
I know this.
Gotta be able to get tickets.
I don't mind hustling for tickets. It's cool. That's what I work hard for, so I can get the good tickets. I want to see them up close. I don't want to sweat about it, and I don't want to drag my wife to a finger in the air thing. And that I already did that, so that other generations don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Any final words to share? Or?
Everyone, be safe this summer as you go see Phish and different bands, and just be kind. Let's keep let's keep some good things happening in our scene. Like there was no disasters from the Sphere. I heard about Drew Carey, his stuff. That's the worst. It's the goofiest thing I heard. Right. So, I mean, we're doing all right. Let's keep that, let's all grow up. Let's keep having fun, and they'll keep playing, and we'll keep coming. And if we squeeze in some golf, holler at me. I'm on Facebook. I love to play.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Jonathan. And we'll talk soon.
I appreciate you, man.
Welcome back, and for this edition of Chips, Bites, and Flights, we're going to continue from that conversation with Jonathan. Hopefully you enjoyed a little banter about Phish, golf, and Seaview, a little Donald Ross. We are going to take this destination to Seaview in Atlantic City. Which is very fitting for this episode and the conversation we just had. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And then the other thing too is it kind of continues from last episode and or I guess 2 episodes ago, our discussion about some of the LPGA and Nelly Corda. So continuing on with a little LPGA theme and Seaview Golf Course and Resort. This is a old Donald Ross classic, and if you find yourself in the Atlantic City area, definitely one to add to your golf bucket list. It also is the host to the ShopRite LPGA Classic, which is a women's LPGA event, and one that plays its rounds at Seaview. So the beauty of this course is that it sits on the shores of New Jersey, and it's just really a course unlike any other. It's got a pretty rich history, steeped in tradition and luxury, and it's become a pretty premier destination for golf enthusiasts. And it's originally designed by Donald Ross in 1914. It's remained as one of the East Coast's most prestigious, and it's got a pretty timeless layout, and not to mention the breathtaking views across the ocean over back to Atlantic City that you can see from several of the holes along the course. It's just a really challenging layout, not a very long course, but just a fantastic challenge if you're out on the East Coast. And the combination of the coastal setting and meticulously manicured fairways makes it an unforgettable experience. And as Jonathan and I discussed in the first segment, had a chance to play it during a Phish tour stop when they did a 3-night run at Atlantic City. So if you are in the area, Atlantic City has, no shortage of hotels. So pick your casino, pick your stay, or you could stay right at the Seaview Resort, which also allows you access to not only their the Bay course, but they also have the Forest course as well, which is not one that I've played, but supposed to be also a very good challenge. So aside from the world-class golfing, they also have the luxury accommodations, great food, swimming pool, all the fun stuff. And if you are more into the gambling side of things or more of the resort, you can obviously go into Atlantic City, stay there, and all those resorts and hotels. Seaview does offer a variety of stay and play packages, so you could always stay, play, and enjoy dinner and things like that. So if you're looking for a fun East Coast destination, Seaview, highly recommend it. Definitely one of the Chips, Bites, and Flights destinations we recommend. Very historic course, also very luxurious little resort, and gives you that coastal getaway for a summer in New Jersey. So highly recommend it. And that wraps up today's episode. So thank you for tuning in. Feel free to drop any comments, send me a DM with any suggestions on where to go next for our Chips, Bites, and Flights segment. And we hope you'll subscribe and tune in to our next episode. Have a great day. That concludes today's episode of A Good Walk Spoiled, Adventures in Golf, hosted by Scott Ponylaws. That's So, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, rate it high, and follow us on Instagram at pony_golf to stay in the loop. We'll catch you next time.